Up to a point, a man's life is shaped by environment, heredity, and changes in the world about him. Then there comes a time when it lies within his grasp to shape his life into the sort of thing he wishes it to be. Only the weak blame parents, their race, lack of good fortune, or the quirks of fate. Everyone has it within his power to say, "This I am today, that I will be tomorrow." Louis L'Amour from The Walking Drum, published by Bantam. What he wrote would be a powerful guide to begin a new year. Hello once again, I'm Don Jackson. The blueprint for a new year can be summed up in one word: Orenda. And you'll see why with the heartbeat of the internet. The one word that should be considered at the start of a new year is Orenda, and this is why. Orenda, a mystical force present in all people that empowers them to affect the world or to affect change in their own lives. And here's an example from the 2015 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay, published by D.C. Thompson and Company. It is an excerpt from Letty Kalman's classic daily devotional, Springs in the Valley. A traveler journeying through the jungles of Africa had enlisted tribesmen to help carry his loads. On the first day, they marched quickly and covered a great distance. But on the second morning, the tribesmen refused to move. They simply sat and rested. When he asked about this odd behavior, the traveler was informed that they had gone too fast the first day and were now waiting for their souls to catch up with their bodies. In conclusion, Letty Kalman said, "This whirling, rushing life, which so many of us live, does for us what that first march did for those poor jungle tribesmen. The difference? They knew what was needed to restore life's balance. Too often, we do not." End quote. There's a great line in the Desiderata that says, "Whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul." Orenda, a mystical force present in all people that empowers them to affect the world or to affect change in their own lives. Again, from the 2015 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay. George tells me his 5-year-old niece found a peacock feather in the grounds of a stately home they were visiting one day and thought it beautiful. "Didn't it hurt when it came out?" she asked. George explained that the peacocks shed their feathers all the time and never noticed. "Now, isn't that a way to live?" he asked me. "Leaving beauty behind for others to enjoy. Doing it so often that you're not even aware of it anymore. And the burden that would place on any life, I thought, would be light as a feather." End quote. And speaking of brilliant colors that cause us to stop and admire the beauty around us, Gay also writes, "The American poet and author Maya Angelou might well have been gazing at a rainbow when she penned the thought, 'Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud.'" This is a poem by Will Allen Dromgoole called The Bridge Builder that I also feel speaks to the subject of helping one along the way. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fears for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you are wasting strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You have crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you at the eventide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, the path I have come," he said. "There followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been naught to me, to that fair-haired youth a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building the bridge for him." Author Francis Gay said we too are traveling through a world which contains much gloom and darkness. What matters most is not who we are, from what stock we come, nor whether we are seen, known, or famous. What matters most is whether we leave behind rows of twinkling lights to guide others. Annie Lennox with Paul Simon's words and music in Something So Right. Again, this from the 2015 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay. Have you ever wished you could do something world-changing? I imagine that to most of us, the mere idea seems so unlikely that we don't even consider how we might go about it. Happily, Scottish singer Annie Lennox is not so easily deterred. She says, ask yourself, have you been kind today? Make kindness your modus operandi and change your world. Some years back, a Boston newspaper columnist did a little calculating and came up with a powerful insight. He was trying to show how unimaginably brief our lives are in comparison with the age of the universe. Chet Ramo of the Boston Globe said, and I quote, "Imagine a human lifetime to be represented by the thickness of a single playing card. Then the age of the universe is a pile of cards 35 miles high." End quote. Our lives are ephemeral when considered in this way, but they are long enough to make a difference in your little corner of the world. Whether it's a plan on a grand scale to change the world itself, or just to make your life more meaningful, we have time enough. It was Paulo Coelho who said, "Important encounters are planned for the soul, long before the bodies see each other. Plato in the Symposium, written circa 400 BC and translated by Benjamin Jowett, said, "So ancient is the desire of one another which is implanted in us, reuniting our original nature, seeking to make one of two and to heal the state of man. Each of us, when separated, having one side only, like a flat fish, is but the tally half of a man, and he is always looking for his other half. Suppose Hephaestus, with his instruments, to come to the pair who are lying side by side, and say to them, 'What do you mortals want of one another?' They would be unable to explain. And suppose further that when he saw their perplexity, he said, 'Do you desire to be wholly one, always day and night in one another's company? For if this is what you desire, I am ready to melt and fuse you together, so that being two, you shall become one, and while you live a common life as if you were a single man, and after your death in the world below, still be one departed soul instead of two. I ask whether this is what you lovingly desire, and whether you are satisfied to attain this.' There is not a man of them who, when he heard the proposal, would deny or would not acknowledge that this meeting and melting into one another, this becoming one instead of two, was the very expression of his ancient need. And the reason is that human nature was originally one, and we were a whole, and the desire and pursuit of the whole is called love." It was Eloisa who wrote, "My soul cannot bear to be without you. Make it happy." Orenda, a mystical force present in all people that empowers them to affect the world or to affect change in their own lives. There may be a reason why some people don't give this mystical force free rein or even a second thought. This is called the secret. The Creator gathered all of creation and said, "I want to hide something from the humans until they are ready for it. It is the realization that they create their own reality." The eagle said, "Give it to me. I will take it to the moon." The Creator said, "No, one day they will go there and find it." The salmon said, "I will bury it on the bottom of the ocean." No, they will go there too. The buffalo said, "I will bury it on the Great Plains." The Creator said they will cut into the skin of earth and find it even there. Grandmother Mole, who lives in the breast of Mother Earth and who has no physical eyes but sees with spiritual eyes, said, "Put it inside of them." And the Creator said, "It is done." Zen writer wrote, "What I tell you is not a secret. The secret is in you." Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.